water heater this is for the entire building. You got cold water coming into the water heater. This is the isolation valve. If you need to shut off the water to the water heater itself, this valve, and it goes up, water's off. A good way to remember it is the handle goes in the flow that the water is. So this is your water isolation. You know, this is the hot water line coming out to mixing valve. The temperature is set through the whole building. This is your temperature gauge right here at 125 degrees. The water heater is set to 145 degrees just to make sure it kills off anything that can live in 140 degree water or less. I forget, some sort of paraben or something that can live in. So this is at 145, this is at 125. This screw right here has a lock nut below it. This is how you adjust the temperature of the outgoing hot water. If you screw it down, it'll get colder. If you unscrew it, the temperature will get hotter. Once you have it to your desired temperature, just take the set screw, bring it back down again. That'll help lock it into place. It's not an easily movable screw. There's a hex on top for a big Allen key. So you can't just accidentally, I can barely get it with my own hand pressure. But just as a safety.
We will need to adjust it at some point?
No.
No.
Unless you want it at a different temperature.
Oh, okay.
If they say, hey, the water's too hot coming in, or it's not hot enough. That's at your discretion. 125 is a good general number, but everybody has their own preferences, so whatever you would like. This gauge also shows the pressure of the water going out, just for your reference. And then you got your shut-off valve. If you gotta do some work here with the union, you can just shut off that valve, pop the union, do your work here. Then the hot water is on a recirculation system. So the hot water goes out, goes through the whole building, then it comes back into this line right here. This line has a shut-off valve right here, just a 3/4 line. The handles in the flow of the direction of the water, off, on. This right here is called an aquastat. This tells the circulating pump what is the temperature of this water coming back. Returning. It's currently set at about 112 degrees, about 110. There's a little screw in here just to adjust
We've lost about 15 degrees through the circulation. Is this a circulation pump?
This is a circulation pump.
Okay.
So as it goes out, you're gonna lose some temperature.
Right.
And then also as it's just being used and everything, and if it sits overnight, you're gonna lose some temperature. So this has a range of, from the 125 to the 110, about a 10-degree loss, so that the water will never get below this 110. Once it's pulling through, it'll get it up to the 125, and it just helps keep it within a certain range. You got your temperature gauge right here at 114. Circ pump, timer. This is your globe valve for controlling the flow of the water, which on a single line system like this is not really required, but if you wanted to slow down how fast the water is going through the whole system, this you can just throttle it down. There's a dial right on the face of the handle that tells you, it gives you a number from 1 to, I think it's 40 basically. So you can just fine tune the balance of it.
Okay, now we would want to change that for what reason?
On this system, you wouldn't.
Okay.
The design of these is so that if you have multiple lines coming back, you can turn one line to go a little bit faster, have another one go a little bit slower, just so that it has an equal balance of the overall system. If you wanted to slow down the flow on this system, there's not much need for it.
Okay.
It's just a redundant thing.
And we haven't tested this yet. Like someone's gone in, we've opened every valve, every hot water valve we've got.
Not yet, because we don't have all the sinks installed yet,
Okay.
because we're just now.
Is that
getting
something we're
countertops
gonna
in.
do? Is that something we'll do?
Yeah, we'll go through, have everything running, and making sure that it keeps
Okay.
up with the flow.
Okay, all right,
So let's see, check valve here, ball valve here, union there. So if you need to get rid of the water heater or do whatever work, you can just
you can isolate it.
you can isolate it with this valve and that valve. You can just isolate this if you need to work on it. This is electrical disconnect CPs for circulating pump. That'll kill this if you got to work on it. This for the water heater. If you need to work on the water heater, just flip it off. It shuts it off
Okay.
electrically.
All right,
And then